Hey guys, welcome to this session. And just like I promised at the community, I'm going to be having a very massive, session today, and that's like the basics of research. What do you need to know to get started with research? Okay, so there is really nothing really of a big deal about research as a concept. I've had lots of sessions in the past, and trust me, this session is going to be a very, very simple one, self-explanatory, and it's going to contain all the information you need to get started. So if you've not joined our community, just check the link in the bio. You can check the description where you're going to find the link that directs you straight up to the what community. Now, it's a pleasure to have you. So welcome to Sentinel Team Beginner Series. Now, to start this session about the basics of research, we're going to start by addressing some kind of frequently asked questions. And then from there, I'm going to look at what is research, okay? Then I'm going to make it very simple to understand the objectives of research, types of research, things you need to know before starting, and the research process. And I'm going to leave you with some kind of final takeaway. Now, regardless of your discipline, whether you work at a factory or whether you work with Apple, Google, whatever company where you find yourself, this is the right session for you because this is not research writing, this is research. We need to actually understand what is research itself. Then when we actually gain some momentum from understanding what the fundamentals of research happens to be, then it's going to usher us straight up into how we can actually apply it. Remember that research is something you can apply in several fields. You can apply it in the field of engineering, you can apply it in the field of social sciences, you can apply it in the field of e-commerce, health sciences, clinicals, and all that. There are lots of fields where you can apply research, but we need to actually understand what is really research about. Then we're going to make it very simple. Now, there are some of the frequently asked questions here, and some of them are how can I learn how to write? Just like I said, this session might not really be that, but we might have just a scratch of what that means. And also, is it possible to have a career in research? Maybe not. Now, how can I make money from research? I don't know. Maybe we could address that. And is research writing and research as a term the same? No. Yes. We're going to address that right away. I've seen a lot of people with so many publications. How do I get to do that? We're definitely going to address that. Are research skills compulsory? Sure, we're going to actually address that. So, like I said, you can actually imagine somebody who is a copywriter who does copywriting for a field. Is the person applying elements of research there? Maybe yes, of course. So, it's going to be a very simple one. Let's go. Now, guys, here is my iPhone 16 Pro Max, and it's just like a month, I'll be 2 months I got this phone, and I haven't got back to my destination, and I'm hearing that they've released an iPhone 17 Pro Max. What is this? Like, it gets me very crazy. Like, because I'm like, so does it mean that the people that work in Apple researchers are coming up with new findings? Yes, that's it. Maybe if you're watching this video in the future, maybe you might be using an iPhone 27. That's fine. So that's great. So you can actually enjoy it. So what it means is that before we get to iPhone 27 or iPhone 30 or whatever, there needs to be a systematic ways of finding answers to questions. And that question could be, why are people using iPhones? Why are people tired of iPhone 16? What are some of their complaints? These are insights that the mobile developers or the researchers at Apple or Google, Microsoft, whatever, Windows, these are some of the insights that they are coming up with before you can be able to say, okay, let's have a new one. Let iPhone 17 have this, iPhone 29, 30, and all that. So that's it. So it's a process of moving from the known to the unknown. So this is the known, iPhone 16, right? So 17 is already out. So that's still the what? That's the known now. So the next unknown is going to be what? iPhone 29. So that's it. So it involves what? Observation, data collection, and analysis. That's what some of this we do with research. So for you to garner new insights, maybe your friend just posted something on WhatsApp and you're like, okay, cool, relax, I'm going to check online. So you're seeing maybe this, that. Okay, you go online, you check. How can you get so and so feedback from this, that? That's research, okay? So you're trying to get insights by what observing. So you observe what's on social media, you come up with the finding that, okay, increased social media time can lead to what? Mental, maybe masturbation. That's crazy. Or maybe you want to collect data from friends, you give them tools and uncover insights from them, and you get new findings. When you analyze data, you uncover new insights. So what's research? Research is just like trying to know new knowledge, new knowledge. So right, we've got 16, then the next one is what, 27, and that's what new. So that's just it. So it just helps us to generate new knowledge. So can I improve on the existing one? Now this is actually water bottle right here, and if you look at this water bottle, the name of it is City Splash Table Water. Now, before, if you go back 1,000 years ago, we never had this water bottle, right? So it means that somebody did what? Somebody was using a horn of a cow to drink water. But right now, we have a what? We have a plastic water bottle. And that means there is new insights from what people in plastic related research. They are doing a lot of research, people from water, fields, a lot of insights are being uncovered. And that's why we're finding new things. So think about artificial intelligence, like we continue to come up with new insights all the time. So that's what research is all about. Now look at the iPhone 16 Pro Max there. That's it. Maybe it looks like 15, but that's iPhone 16 Pro Max. And when we talk about what is the objective of going to do a research, so remember when we say research is what? We're going to go and recheck. You can use another word as recheck. Want to go and recheck. Want to go and recheck what is in literature. So our objective of rechecking could be that we want to uncover what is new, want to describe some kind of situations. Okay, this is how this thing behaves. That's why we rechecked or we researched. And I want to diagnose some kind of problems. Maybe your vehicle has a problem, and then you want to go online, check up some things, and what are the causes of this, and you want to diagnose. Or maybe somebody is having heart attack or hypertension or whatever. You want to check, you want to diagnose, and actually understand some insights. Okay, or we want to test some kind of relationship. Does using maybe some kind of educational methods, does it improve results? That kind of relationship. Maybe does online YouTube education improve academic results? Okay, you might also have some kind of clinical related questions, maybe like certain drugs, does it reduce or relieve symptoms of maybe whatever condition? So these are what kind of casual relationships. So this is why we do research. Are you getting it? So that's it. So we're going to actually have some kind of small demo in this session. Okay. Now, I don't want to bore you at all. I don't want to bore you. Trust me. I like things being very straight and simple. Now, this is what you might actually find out there on several textbooks. They're going to tell you exploratory research, survey of literature, experience survey, study of case, conclusive research, descriptive research, experimental research, a lot of talk. But I don't want to be that. I want to make mine simple with what we know already. And that's what I'm going to do. Remember, we're going to come back to this slide. Now, if you look at this right now, you'll see that, we are trying to use the iPhone 16 Pro Max and iPhone 17 as an example, okay? Now, let's look at it from the case of descriptive research. What's descriptive research like? Because you're definitely going to meet all this in a lot of textbooks. Definitely. A lot of textbooks are going to actually address this. So when you look at the iPhone 16 Pro Max, now, what do we mean by descriptive research? Now, we want to actually do something kind of a survey on users, on which iPhone they use. So we want to describe, in this population, in our community, a lot of people in our sensory community are rich. Okay, it means that they have insight, they are rich with knowledge. They use the iPhone, maybe iPhone 16 or whatever, what type of iPhone. That's for the descriptive. So in terms of the analytical, so we might want to compare the performance. Okay, let's say for example, people who use iPhone 16 versus iPhone 17 want to compare the battery performance. Okay, want to compare what's actually the battery performance of this and that. For example, let's use a real life example. Now, maybe you want to actually understand what's like the performance of maybe some certain health indicators over others. Okay, maybe you want to understand how does so and so drug, maybe ART versus metformin, or paracetamol versus maybe another kind of analgesic or whatever. So when we try to do this kind of analytical research, that's what we call what analytical type of research. Remember, we are talking about what research is all about. Now, the next one we've got is the applied research. Okay, so now let's take for example again the Apple marketing strategy. Where you try to understand how does Apple market their product, how are they now applying all the they've described, they've analyzed and all this. How do they now apply it to improve their marketing? How do they now come up with new product insights, and how does it spread from Chicago or Illinois or Iowa? How does it go to maybe New Jersey, whatever? That's it, all right? So some type of research requires us to underline the application. So this is something that is actually synonymous with those of them from physics, some certain STEM discipline like that, and kind of scientific discipline, where we try to see how everything is working. Okay, that's it. That's applied research. Now another one is what we call the fundamental what research. So what do we mean by fundamental research? So we're trying to understand, consumer behavior theories, some kind of research that requires, so much theories, right? So that's where we do explore all this. Okay, so that's what we do explore at fundamental research. And I don't just want to really keep it so much that we've got qualitative research, trying to understand, answering questions like how, when, why, which, and all that. Okay, that's qualitative. So using the Apple, for example, which I want to actually understand, users, which one do they prefer and why? Why do you prefer the iPhone 17 over the iPhone 16? Why do you prefer Samsung over iPhone? What are your reasons? In that kind of scenario, any type of research, what insights we're trying to get from there is what qualitative. Okay. Now we have the next one, which we call the quantitative research. So when we talk about quantitative research, we're trying to count how many people bought each of the model. So we want to know numerical, how many, how much. That's the type of question we're trying to address there. So try to know how many people bought this, how many people got this, how many people did this, how many people did that. That is what quantitative research. Now there are actually some basic things some of we need to know before we get started with research. And just like I did mention about the iPhone 16 or iPhone 17, whatever phone is that we need to actually choose a clear problem, right? So why do you prefer iPhone 16 over iPhone 17? Can you tell me why? Why do you prefer iPhone 16 over? So you need to actually come up with this class. Oh, I want to do a study around diabetes. Why should it be diabetes? Why shouldn't it be maybe type 2 diabetes? Or why should it be type 1 over type 2? Why should it be type 3 or gestational diabetes or whatever type? Okay, that's what it is. There needs to be clarity in the problem. And these are some of the things you need to note before you start researching. Okay, so it doesn't matter your background right now. Maybe you happen to be an academic student and you want to actually explore some kind of insight. It's always very important for you to start with reviewing what is already known. Now, that's one of the things we usually do. So I'm just going to hit up here. Let's take, for example, I want to start okay, I'm just going to come here and I want to just do some kind of practice, just kind of slight practice, because remember here we're talking about choosing a clear problem, right? And we talked about reviewing what's already known, maybe in the blogs, maybe be the kind of have an objective, and also setting smart objective. Okay, so now let's assume I just want to choose something right now. And how are we going to talk about reviewing what is already known? Now, usually for us to do a research, particularly in academics, can actually come here and ask, want to actually get insight from Apple blogs, for example. Okay, so I'm going to just go to Apple newsroom. Maybe I might want to maybe read this, open this in a new window. Right, so I could just go there, read a lot of information about Apple, try and know what they've published before. Right here now, this is what we call literature review. Okay, so this is what we call literature review. So I'm going to learn read. Okay, this is what they've got for. They're talking about iPhone 17. People are already saying something about Scratchgate. Okay, some people are saying, oh, that is scratches, and some people are already saying something about okay, opening something in Ginza. So all these are all what we call literature, reviewing literature, right? So we just try to, go around, literature repositories. In academics now, what this would mean now is maybe we might go to databases, like let's say, for example, PubMed. I want to do a research on, I want to do research on diabetes, for example. Okay. Okay, so I'm just gonna spell that correctly. Sorry. Okay. So let's assume I want to do a research on diabetes. I can come here and I'm going to search diabetes, and straight up I'll have to read a lot of literature and insights. Okay, then it's now from the information I'm going to gather here that I'm going to use to work on my research or whatever. Okay, Now, the next thing that we need to actually understand right away now is that, it's getting very simple and easy is we need to have an objective, right? So before you start any type of research, you need to be objective. Don't assume I for something is always better. So you need to clearly spell out objectives, okay? It's very, very important. And another thing you need to know for you to perform any research is what you need to set smart objective. In our next video, maybe we might be talking about some kind of designs, maybe how to set objectives for research in details and all that. Now, when we talk about smart, it means specific, measurable, achievable, reliable and time bound. Okay, so by the end of week one, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to get a survey about number of people that are using iPhone 17, 21, and iPhone 37, and all that, depending on whenever you're watching this video. Now, this is what some people we need to understand. A lot of people need to understand that there is always a clear process for you to do any research. Okay, now what do I mean by that? Now, for you to do any type of research, you can actually see here that the first thing you need to do is, well, you need to identify a problem. Okay, very simple. Why are students sticking with iPhone 16? That's a problem. Okay, so my action is, okay, we've reviewed tech blogs, right? So we need to review literature. So it applies in academic, as well. Then we can come up with say, okay, these are tech blogs. Maybe we review the tech blog, Apple website, YouTube reviews. Then we'll now know how to now shape our question. Maybe we might want to design a survey. But before that, we might have to state what hypothesis. Okay, we just could serve as our purpose. Then we can now say, okay, students choose iPhone 16 because it's cheaper. And then we'll have to have a design survey plus interview, ask maybe 20 iPhone users by collecting their data. Then we're going to analyze that data, compare the features and the costs or its concerns. Then we're definitely going to report it and share the result. That's how we now come up with a new insight to say that is iPhone 16 costlier or is iPhone 16 better? Whatever we might have in mind is definitely going to be what answered in that question. That's what the research process is all about. So it doesn't matter any kind of insight you have in mind, that's the same cycle that research tends to take. So that's just what I actually explained last place. And I'm going to be leaving you with some exercises to prove to me that you did understand what the basics of research is. Remember, I said I always want to keep it very simple. So write down one question that you're curious about on the comment section for me. Decide, is it exploratory, is it descriptive, or is it analytical, just like we said. And I want you to find 2-3 articles if it's academically related, maybe news reports or videos related to your questions. And let me know if you did understand what we talked about. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe to this channel. Let us know if you did understand everything you need to know to understand the primary aspect of research. Remember, guys, everything you need to know to get started with research is just as simple as asking a question. If you're able to shape a very simple question of, are people obese? Why are people obese? That's a very broad question, but that's what research. This is not research writing, this is research. Understanding what research means. And I'm sure with this, we've been able to answer some of these questions. But then in terms of making money, how research writing differs for this, definitely we're going to address that in our future video. Remember, don't forget to check out some of the courses we've got. We've got some courses on how you can actually get started with academic writing and grant writing. Some of the mastery courses is on our website, www.sensing.com. You can actually click there right now and check it out. We've already had a massive slashing of the course. And thank you very much for having me. And see you guys in the next video. We are going to be explaining the literature review process with hands-on practicals. Bye-bye.